The Power of Habit dives into the crucial role habits play in shaping our lives. Whether it's good habits like exercising or brushing your teeth, or bad ones like smoking. Through fascinating research and compelling stories, this book unpacks how habits are formed and offers practical tips for transforming them. Whether you're looking to change personal habits or improve an organization, The Power of Habit provides the insights you need to make lasting change. The Power of Habit Summary. You've made a decision. No more smoking, or maybe it's no more junk food. For the first couple of weeks, things go smoothly. You feel proud of yourself, confident that this time you've conquered the habit for good. But then one day, the craving hits you with unexpected force, and before you know it, you're back to your old ways. Sound familiar? If so, you've experienced firsthand the incredible power of habits. Habits are deeply ingrained in the human brain and psyche, shaping our actions and decisions in ways we often don't fully understand. They make our lives easier by automating routine tasks. Imagine if you had to figure out how to open a door every time you encountered one. But while habits can be beneficial, they can also cause problems, leading us down paths that we may not want to follow. The good news is that by understanding how habits work, you can learn to harness their power and even change them. This guide explores the science behind habits, the reasons they are so powerful, and practical strategies for breaking bad habits and forming new positive ones. Chapter 1. The Anatomy of a Habit Cue, Routine, Reward. In the 1990s, researchers at MIT conducted a groundbreaking study on habit formation in the brain. They used mice in a maze where the rodents had to find a piece of chocolate placed at the end of a T-shaped maze. As the mice navigated the maze, the researchers monitored their brain activity. Initially, the mice's brains were highly active as they sniffed around, trying to locate the chocolate. But as the mice learned the maze, go straight, then turn left, their brain activity decreased. This process, known as chunking, is the brain's way of turning a sequence of actions into an automatic routine, forming the basis of all habits. Chunking plays a crucial role in making life more efficient by saving mental energy for more complex tasks. For instance, activities that initially require intense concentration, like learning to drive a car or type on a keyboard, eventually become second nature. Any habit can be broken down into a simple three-part loop. Cue. This is the trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use. It could be anything from your alarm clock ringing to a specific time of day or an emotional state like boredom. Routine. This is the behavior or action you perform automatically when you encounter the cue. For example, brushing your teeth when you wake up or checking your phone when you're bored. Reward. This is the payoff your brain gets from the habit. It could be the minty freshness after brushing your teeth or the satisfaction of seeing new messages on your phone. Over time, this loop becomes more and more ingrained in your brain, making the habit stronger and harder to break. The key to understanding habits lies in recognizing that they are automatic processes deeply embedded in the basal ganglia, a part of the brain that plays a significant role in habit formation and maintenance. Even if other parts of the brain are damaged, the basal ganglia can continue to operate normally, which is why habits are so resilient. Chapter 2. The Power of Craving and Habit Formation. Why is it so difficult to kick a bad habit, even when you're fully aware of its negative consequences? The answer lies in the concept of craving. When you develop a habit, you're not just engaging in a routine, you're also cultivating a powerful craving for the reward at the end of the habit loop. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz's research with a macaque monkey named Julio provides valuable insights into how craving works. In one experiment, Julio was trained to pull a lever when he saw certain shapes on a screen, which would result in a drop of his favorite blackberry juice. Initially, Julio's brain only responded when he actually received the juice. But as he learned the connection between the shapes, pulling the lever and receiving the juice, his brain began to anticipate the reward, showing increased activity as soon as the shapes appeared. This anticipation is the neurological basis of craving. Your brain starts to expect the reward, and when it doesn't get it, you experience a sense of dissatisfaction or frustration. This is why resisting a craving, whether for a cigarette, a cookie, or a drink, can feel so difficult. Craving doesn't just make bad habits hard to break. It also plays a crucial role in forming positive habits. For example, people who exercise regularly often develop a craving for the endorphin rush, the sense of accomplishment, or the treat they allow themselves afterwards. This craving helps solidify the exercise habit, making it easier to maintain over time. Companies have long understood the power of craving in driving consumer behavior. Claude Hopkins, who popularized Pepsodent toothpaste in the early 20th century, is a prime example. He created a craving for the cool, tingling sensation that people now associate with clean teeth. This sensation became a reward that people began to crave, leading them to form a daily habit of brushing their teeth. Chapter 3. Changing Habits. The Golden Rule. Given the power of habits, it's no surprise that changing them can be incredibly challenging. However, the key to changing a habit is not to try to eliminate the craving, but to redirect it. This approach is often referred to as the golden rule of habit change. Keep the same cue and reward, but change the routine. For example, if you're trying to quit smoking, you might identify that the cue is feeling stressed, and the reward is the sense of relaxation that smoking provides. Instead of reaching for a cigarette, you could replace the routine with a healthier alternative that provides a similar reward, such as taking a few deep breaths, going for a walk, or chewing nicotine gum. This method has been used with great success by organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous, AA. AA helps participants identify the cues and rewards associated with their drinking habits and then provides new routines, such as attending meetings or talking to a sponsor, that address the same underlying needs for relaxation, companionship, or escape. However, while this method is effective, it's not always enough on its own. Research has shown that individuals who manage to change their habits often rely on a strong belief that they can change. This is why AA emphasizes spirituality and belief in a higher power, which helps participants believe in the possibility of change for themselves. The belief, whether in God or in something else, provides the strength needed to resist old habits during stressful times. Chapter 4. The Power of Keystone Habits and Small Wins. Not all habits are created equal. Some habits, known as keystone habits, have a disproportionate impact on our lives because they set off a chain reaction that influences other behaviors. Identifying and focusing on these keystone habits can be a powerful way to drive positive change. When Paul O'Neill became the CEO of Alcoa, an aluminum manufacturing giant, in 1987, he chose an unusual focus for his tenure: workplace safety. Instead of prioritizing profits, O'Neill insisted that improving worker safety should be the company's top priority. At first, investors were skeptical. How could focusing on safety lead to profitability? O'Neill understood that keystone habits like safety could trigger a cascade of positive changes throughout the organization. By prioritizing safety, employees had to think more carefully about their work processes, communication improved, and overall efficiency increased. As a result, Alcoa became one of the safest companies in the industry, and profits soared. Keystone habits can be just as powerful for individuals. For instance, research has shown that keeping a food journal is a keystone habit for people trying to lose weight. The simple act of writing down everything you eat can lead to other positive behaviors, such as being more mindful of portion sizes and making healthier food choices. Keystone habits are effective because they provide small wins, early successes that build momentum and create a sense of possibility. When you experience a small win, it boosts your motivation and confidence, making it easier to tackle other challenges and develop additional positive habits. Chapter 5. Willpower, the ultimate keystone habit. One of the most important keystone habits is willpower. In the 1960s, researchers at Stanford conducted a famous study involving 4-year-olds and marshmallows. Each child was given a choice: eat 1 marshmallow now or wait 15 minutes and get 2 marshmallows. Only about 30% of the children were able to wait for the second marshmallow. Years later, the researchers followed up with the participants and found that the children who had exhibited the greatest willpower, those who had waited for the second marshmallow, were more successful as adults. They had better grades, were more popular, and were less likely to have drug addictions. Willpower, it turns out, is a keystone habit that can influence many areas of life. However, like a muscle, willpower can become fatigued. If you've spent a lot of mental energy on a challenging task at work, you might find it harder to resist temptation later in the day. But just like a muscle, willpower can also be strengthened through practice. For example, adhering to a strict diet or exercise regimen can help build willpower, making it easier to apply that discipline to other areas of your life. Other factors, such as planning ahead for challenging situations, can also enhance willpower. Starbucks, for instance, developed the latte method to help its employees handle difficult customers. By preparing employees to respond calmly and effectively, Starbucks ensured that they had the willpower to follow through even in stressful situations. Research has also shown that a sense of autonomy can affect willpower. When people feel that they are choosing their actions rather than being forced into them, they are more likely to sustain their willpower over time. Chapter 6. The role of crises in changing organizational habits. Habits aren't just personal, they also exist within organizations, shaping how they operate. But just as habits can be beneficial, they can also be dangerous if they lead to complacency or inaction. A tragic example of this occurred in 1987 when a fire broke out at the King's Cross station in London. A commuter had noticed a small fire and informed a ticket collector, but instead of taking action, the ticket collector returned to his post, assuming it was someone else's responsibility to deal with the situation. As a result, the fire spread, eventually killing 31 people. This tragedy highlighted a dangerous organizational habit within the London Underground, a rigid division of responsibilities that left no one with overall responsibility for passenger safety. The employees had developed a habit of staying within their departmental boundaries, which prevented them from taking action in an emergency. Crises like the King's Cross fire, however, also offer an opportunity for change. Investigators who examined the incident used the crisis to push for significant reforms, including appointing station managers with clear responsibility for safety. Crises create a sense of urgency that can break through organizational inertia and drive the adoption of new, healthier habits. Effective leaders understand the power of crises and use them to create lasting change. By recognizing the opportunity that a crisis presents, leaders can reshape the habits of their organization in ways that would be difficult under normal circumstances. Chapter 7. How companies leverage habits in marketing. Habits aren't just about personal behavior. They also play a significant role in consumer behavior, and companies are constantly looking for ways to tap into these habits to drive sales. For example, have you ever noticed that fresh fruits and vegetables are often the first thing you see when you enter a supermarket? This isn't a coincidence. Retailers know that if you start your shopping with healthy items, you're more likely to indulge in less healthy treats as you continue through the store. This is just one of the many ways that companies use habit-forming techniques to influence your purchasing decisions. But the real power of habits in marketing comes from the ability to target individual customers with personalized offers. Advances in data collection and analysis have enabled companies like Target to identify specific consumer habits and tailor their marketing strategies accordingly. In the early 2000s, Target began using data to identify pregnant women before they had even announced their pregnancies. By analyzing their shopping habits, Target could send them targeted coupons for baby products, drawing them into the store before their competitors had a chance. This strategy was so effective that it led to a teenage girl's father discovering her pregnancy through the coupons Target sent her. A clear example of how powerful and invasive habit-based marketing can be. However, Target quickly learned that customers don't like feeling spied on. To address this, the company began mixing the targeted coupons with unrelated offers, making the marketing feel more random and less invasive. This tactic, known as subtle targeting, allowed Target to maintain the effectiveness of its habit-based marketing while reducing the potential for backlash. Companies also use familiarity to sell new products. For instance, radio DJs can make a new song popular by playing it between two familiar hits. By sandwiching the unfamiliar with the familiar, they make the new song more palatable to listeners, helping it become a hit. Chapter 8. The role of social movements in changing habits. Habits aren't just about individuals. They can also drive social movements. One of the most famous examples of this is the Montgomery bus boycott, sparked by Rosa Parks's refusal to give up her seat to a white man in 1955. Parks's arrest wasn't the first of its kind, but it became the catalyst for a year-long boycott that played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement. Why? In part, because Parks was well connected within her community. She had strong ties to a wide range of people, from professors to field hands, which helped spread the word about her arrest and rally support for the boycott. But strong ties alone weren't enough to sustain the movement. Peer pressure, exerted through weak ties, acquaintances rather than close friends, also played a critical role. As more people joined the boycott, it became harder for others to opt out, even when the city introduced new rules to make life without buses more difficult. The final component that helped sustain the movement was the formation of new habits. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches advocating nonviolence and forgiveness helped participants develop new routines, such as organizing church meetings and peaceful protests, which kept the movement alive and self-sustaining. This combination of strong ties, peer pressure, and new habits is a powerful force for change, whether in social movements or in individual lives. Chapter 9. The responsibility of changing our habits. While habits can be incredibly powerful, we are ultimately responsible for changing them, especially once we become aware of their impact on our lives. Consider the case of Brian Thomas, who tragically strangled his wife while experiencing a sleep terror, a condition in which the brain shuts down except for its most primitive parts. Thomas believed he was defending his wife from an intruder, but in reality, he was following an automatic habit. The court acquitted him, recognizing that he had no control over his actions in that state. Contrast this with the case of Angie Bachman, who was sued by the casino company Harrah's for $500,000 in gambling debts. Bachman argued that her gambling was a compulsion driven by habit, and that Harrah's had exploited this by sending her enticing offers. The court, however, ruled against her, holding her responsible for her actions. The difference between these two cases lies in awareness. Thomas had no way of knowing that he would harm anyone in his sleep. Bachman, on the other hand, was aware of her gambling habit but failed to take steps to address it, such as joining an exclusion program that would have prevented casinos from marketing to her. Once we become aware of a harmful habit, it becomes our responsibility to change it. While this can be challenging, especially when the habit is deeply ingrained, it's essential for leading a healthy, fulfilling life. Conclusion: mastering the power of habits. Habits are a fundamental part of our lives, shaping our actions, decisions, and even our identities. Understanding the mechanics of habits, the cue, routine, reward loop, and the role of craving and habit formation is the first step toward mastering them. Changing habits is difficult, but it's possible by focusing on keystone habits, redirecting cravings, and building willpower. Whether you're trying to quit smoking, exercise more, or become more productive at work, the principles of habit change can help you achieve your goals. Habits also play a crucial role in organizations and social movements. Leaders who understand the power of habits can use them to drive positive change, whether by creating a sense of urgency during a crisis or by leveraging social ties to sustain a movement. Finally, while habits can sometimes feel like they control us, we have the ultimate responsibility for changing them. By taking control of our habits, we can shape our lives, achieve our goals, and create a future that reflects our true potential. Actionable advice: make your bed every morning. One simple yet powerful keystone habit that can set the tone for your entire day is making your bed in the morning. Research has shown that this small act can increase your general well-being and boost your overall productivity. It's a small win that can lead to a cascade of positive habits throughout your day. By understanding and mastering the power of habits, you can take control of your life and unlock your full potential. Whether you're aiming for personal growth, professional success, or social change, the principles of habit formation and change will be your most powerful tools.